Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Tyler. Tyler is from North Carolina in the USA. So let's see what Tyler has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello Tyler, I'm very well. How are you doing today?
I'm also well. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I certainly can. How about you? I'm okay with the sound?
Yes.
Tyler, how's your day been so far?
Pretty okay. Just a quiet Saturday at the house.
Tell me, where are you from?
I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I've lived here for about 5 years.
And what's the best part of living there?
I really like that it's got like little independent communities almost kind of just spread through the city. It kind of gives each little area of the city like its own kind of distinct flavor, and I like that a lot.
And where are you from originally?
I'm from a small town in West Virginia. I'm from Beckley, West Virginia.
I see. And all your family are back there?
No, actually, we all live here now. We're split in between here and like in kind of like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina area.
I see. And what do you do for a living?
I manage a cafe. I manage a cafe, and I do serve a little bit on the side for a little extra money.
I see. And what do you like the most about your job?
That's actually like a fun thing. I've been in the restaurant industry for a little over a decade, and now I'm kind of looking to move out of that. So right now I'm just juggling this management job because from where it's a cafe, the hours are a little bit towards the beginning of the day instead of the whole day. And really, I'm actually kind of looking into doing like a big career change and trying to feel out where I want to be moving forward.
Good. I like your friend behind you, this dinosaur there behind.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler, before we start our journey, William and the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'd say until I moved to Charlotte, actually, what I spent like the majority of my 20s doing was that I was actually a touring musician. Yeah, wow. Actually, I played rhythm guitar in a metal band actually called Curses. That's they're still together, they're still playing, but I was in that project for right around 2 years.
Wow, that's very interesting. So you always been involved in the music industry?
To some extent. These days I've kind of pulled out a little bit. Like it's a very hard industry, especially for like your less popular genres, kind of like what we were. And that's actually the small town that I'm from. It was a big component of why that didn't end up being something I could pursue any further. The town that I was from is actually right in the heart of like the America's opioid epidemic crisis. So the economy there got damaged really badly, and it ended up that I ended up having to leave for different opportunities.
I see. Okay. So are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. Full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to get a little bit in the mood before the first question.
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay, Tyler, so just before we start the game, through the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, I always can change, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. First question for you is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where that would be and why?
I'm definitely one of those people that's drawn to New York City for some reason. I've been twice, but I took really quickly to like the way that their like culture of that city specifically is. I mean, Charlotte's a city, but it's still kind of a smaller city. Like the metropolitan idea is something that actually has incredible appeal to me. I just, yeah, if I could pick anywhere, it'd be there. It just seems like I'm kind of a hustle and bustle kind of person, and knowing that that's kind of like what their day-to-day is built around, I would love every single second of that. Just kind of the idea of being in constant motion.
I see. And when you've been there, was for a like short period, was just like for a few days or?
Yeah, it was just little controlled doses. There one of the times that I went was actually to see the band that I was in play.
Okay.
So we were there for I think what was only like 2 nights, I want to say,
Hmm.
and we explored like pretty much like the regular kind of touristy parts of the city. But I actually got really familiar with like the little like couple blocks of where we were staying to the point where I was just walking around. I knew where I was going, and I took to it really easily.
It's kind of the vibe carried on with you. The vibe was there.
Yeah, just I guess I grew up for the most part in the South. So it's a huge like flavor difference, you know, like it's a little less personable, but I find that like it makes moments of kind of like incidental kindness that much like warmer. And that was actually the part of it I liked. I liked kind of the cool stillness where that kind of thing actually shined through a little bit more. It made it feel so much warmer and a little less caricatured like it kind of is in the South.
I see. Very good. I've been in New York once, and actually saying that, I started studying English when I was 12 years old, and I always had a dream to go to New York. I don't know why. I always had this fascination about New York. And 3, 4 years ago, I went there for the very first time, and it was a dream come true. I was like, wow, I'm here in New York. I couldn't believe. I couldn't believe I was there. It was just like in a dream come true, literally. Next question. Next question for you is, what's the best compliment have you ever received?
Oh, um, I think it was actually a conversation in between my best friend and I once. I guess I was feeling just kind of some sort of way just about like, I guess the string of events that kind of took place that were going to put me here in Charlotte and leave like the town that I was from. And um, I guess I was just kind of like just spitting out how I felt and whatnot. And my best friend is a very charismatic person, you know, like a very goes into a room, it's all eyes. Captivating is a word that I've used a lot. And I guess he like took a breath and he just kind of looked at me and he was like, no, he's like, as far as I'm concerned, he's like, you're so quick to put yourself off of the front of what you're doing. But he's like, but to me, he was like, you're the hero's hero, the one that no one sees, the one that runs behind the back, like behind the background and keeps the other ones checked and moving. And that was easily one of the sweetest things that anybody had ever said to me. Yeah, that was a big one. I think
Amazing. Wow. And come from a best friend as well. It's very genuine, and I'm sure he meant it. So that's very interesting.
Mhm.
Good for you.
Thank you. I try, you know.
Next one. Before the next question, when you think about your town in West Virginia, Beckley, you know the name, Beckley.
Yes.
What's the best memories that comes to your mind?
You know, in all honesty, before everything kind of set in, it was not a bad place to live. It was a quiet area, not a lot was going on, but the one thing that I really do love about it was that for a second, we really did have this very underground community of like, I guess like I'm 32, but like around like that general age, you know, like the millennials had kind of banded together and created this little underground arts community. And it was, and that was really warm because that's the difference I think in between being from like a bigger city and a smaller town is in your smaller towns, you have like your little watering hole, you know, like the one place where even if you have no plans, you can go and you'll find somebody you know there. And that was actually that familiarity was easily one of my like favorite things of living there. It's just unfortunate that what took place, but that's definitely it. Like I think that the underground community was a little hidden gem, especially considering that if you drove through that place, you'd never find it. You had to know somebody to kind of get connected to it.
I see. And do you have siblings as well?
Yes, I have one. Yes, I have a little brother. He's 14 years younger than I am. He's actually going to graduate high school this year,
Wow.
which is wild to think about.
What's the biggest difference between both of you, and what's the biggest similarity?
The difference I like to talk about a lot because my parents are actually a little on the younger side. They are part of like the Gen X generation. And I grew up, I'm a millennial, but my brother's actually a member of Gen Z. So the differences that you can kind of see in like our like I grew up pre-internet, go outside and play, and he was messing with like iPhones, iPads, and things like that from a super young age and connected on the internet. Like we definitely are very distinct in that way. Like he's definitely a lot more tech savvy, a lot more like modern to the trend, and I'm getting older and resisting change. And the similarity though, we definitely have a really interesting blend of like our parents' qualities where we're definitely like motivated people, we're definitely driven people, we have goals, but there's also a little bit of a rebellious spirit, I think, that comes from our dad that's in both of us. That's probably the biggest similarity, is our willingness to kind of be a little against the grain, I think.
I see. Good one. Next question is, what makes you most uncomfortable about yourself?
I think that this is something I really think about a lot, I think. That's actually, I think it's my idea that my emotions can run a little wild sometimes. So I think that that's maybe like a big focal point, even especially right now at the end of COVID, in this kind of transition period that I feel like everybody's experiencing in life. Like that's something I've had to become really aware of recently, was that I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily burdened by the things that I don't have, but I'm inspired and terrified about what it's going to take to get them. So it's like I can be really quick to kind of slide into these places where I don't feel like things are working out necessarily, or that like maybe I'm making the wrong choices, and I can really freak myself out and kind of stunt a little progress. Thankfully, I don't end up right in my own way a whole lot, but I definitely have to sometimes stop and consider, like, it's like, do you really feel this way, or is this just your day? Sometimes it's just a passing moment, and you have to kind of remember that, like pay attention to that.
And how do you do to pay attention on that, or which mechanism you find to kind of put yourself in the ground or make yourself more reality of the situation, if you know what I mean?
I actually, that's something that I'm like starting to even change a little bit. I think for a long time I tried to do the thing where you just stay really busy and you don't think about it. But now I'm finding that like there's a little bit of almost like a balancing act I'm playing with my character in between what I want from myself moving forward as an adult. However, it's like there's like an innocence that's still attached to like my youth, that like rather than feel nostalgic about it, I need to look at it and remember that you can't be the person that you are without the person that you were. And you have to feed both simultaneously and kind of let them develop in a way that's actually healthy against your extremes. Because it's like, I don't think ignoring one of them really yields good results in the long run.
I think all of us, we are it's a school every day. You know what I mean? It's like our life is like a school day every day. There is always something new for you to approach, always something new for you to learn, always something to you to, you know what I mean, to wonder why that's happening. So it's all, I heard the other day, like every day is a school day. So I think it says a lot what you're just saying now. I think we are here to learn and to try to take the best of our lives always.
Yeah, I just try to stay as present in that as I can, like the constant student mentality. Just if perfection wasn't beautiful, I don't think it would be fleeting. Like that's kind of the idea. It's like there's always somewhere further to go, I think.
For sure. Next question. Let's do it. I can see some moves now from you. Good.
I'm trying. It's a little warm in here, and I'm trying not to break sweat.
Next question for you is, what was your favorite thing to do as a kid?
Favorite thing to do as a kid. I think it was actually just like little spur of the moment adventures. Like I said, like my family is kind of on the young side, so when they were when I was growing up, they were still in like their like late, or well, their early 20s. So I think like I got to do a lot of stuff that like on like I guess the adventurous side of life, like compared to like my like counterparts. So I really liked like those spur of the moment, like, oh well, we're going to the strip on the beach to play in the arcades and things like that, like when I wasn't expecting it. You know, it's like the surprises like that I think were like my favorite for sure.
Good one. Next question. Before the next one, tell me something. North Carolina, it's very far from West Virginia, or there are states quite close?
They're not that far apart. It's only maybe a 3-hour drive, really.
I see. In your opinion, what's the biggest difference between both states, North Carolina and West Virginia?
West Virginia. West Virginia is as beautiful as it is. It's a very rural state, like very contained. It's definitely still feels very in the past a little bit, like progress in there is like a little bit slower. Whereas here it was almost like jumping what felt like a few years into the future, just in terms of we had just started to get things in West Virginia that had been here for years. And because of it, there were a lot more options here and just in terms of those things to do. Like, and I think too, like North Carolina's definitely got a little bit of a better handle on like youth culture, like in just places for young people to be and things for them to be doing. Whereas, like I said, we had a watering hole kind of bar because it really was the only place. So it's the options are really cool. And I think that the difference though is that the people that I meet, the personalities are really different too. Like the small town, you know, your personalities breed real big because there's not a lot of distraction. And then here, I feel like it's a little bit the opposite. It's like people here are a little harder to connect to because I think that they're still putting in that kind of work because there was so much going on all the time.
I see. How about accents or words? There are different words that they use there that West Virginia that you don't use there, or something new that you've learned or not?
A little bit, in all honesty, because West Virginia has like the Appalachian accent, which I thankfully I didn't pick it up. I don't have it, but the it's a very rural, very it's almost like a higher pitched, faster Southern accent is right. The accent that from that area. And then actually here in Charlotte, it's a little bit of a melting pot community at this point. So you actually like the accents that you do meet, you do get like your few Southern people that are local to the area. But then there's also like large, like Eastern European populations, like Arabic populations, Indian populations. So the accents are really all over the place.
I see. Interesting. Very good. Next question for you is, share with us a crazy story that happened to you when you were at school. Crazy or funny?
Oh, there's so many.
Did you like school?
Yeah, no, I like high school. I feel like is kind of the same for everybody here in America, at least. But college for me was it was a interesting experience because I think like at a point I decided that I wanted to be a little bit more ambitious, a little bit more outgoing. I was kind of an introvert in high school. And just by the time that I got to college, just decided that that wasn't going to be a thing anymore. I was going to say yes to a lot more, try a lot more. And one of the funniest things that happened, I think, was actually I'd never done theater, but in college, one of your like general studies courses they made us take was Theater 101. And I had to do a quiz on Death of a Salesman. And I did not even read the back cover of the book. I didn't read a page, and I guessed a perfect 0. But there was a clause in the syllabus that if you would audition for the fall play, all you had to do was audition. They would drop your lowest quiz grade. So I went to the audition. I got the part. So wow. I ended up having to be in this theater production, and my part was really like, I thought it was kind of easy. I was supposed to be like a 7-year-old kid. So my lines were real easy to remember. I didn't have a lot to do on stage, but one of the things I had to do at the end was I was supposed to hold someone up with a gun. It was like a satire play. Right. And the gun actually misfired. And we had to cut the last like 2 or 3 minutes off the play. because of the misfire, because the misfire, I was pointing it at the character I was supposed to be talking to. So he dropped to the floor, and then I had to continue just for the next like couple minutes by myself, and it went smoothly enough. But I thought it was just funny because one, I wasn't really supposed to be there. I wasn't in the theater department. I got the part, had to be on stage, and then the misfire happened on, I think, the second of 3 performances.
Wow.
And thankfully I managed to brush it off, so it wasn't like crazy embarrassing. But that I do think that that's like funny considering that my minimal experience.
For sure, you meant to be there. It was your part for sure.
Oh, it really felt that way after a point. I was like, you couldn't have written it out better.
I'm so glad this question came up to you. I'm glad. Next question, let's do it. Next question for you, Tyler. Let's do it. What's the best advice have you ever given?
Best advice I've ever given. I wish I could say it's like an original thought, but it's not. But I read something a long time ago that I've really kind of applied, I guess, to my life in the last few years. And I kind of try to spread this around, and it's the idea that like, the expression is trade your certainty for awe. And I think that that's a really good way of trying to remember to look at your life like objectively a little bit, to try to look past like those parts of it that you're experiencing maybe too fervently or that have kind of dominated your sensibilities. A way to remember to think clearly is that as certain as you could be about your outcomes or your goals or your intentions, just be ready and willing to accept the awe of the unknown, to feel just very in your moment and adaptable. And I think that I feel like it stops you from kind of like hurting your own feelings on stuff a lot, like just about how you're receiving like changes and stuff. It lets you be very present in it instead of just at the mercy of it. So I think I've started telling pretty much anybody that wants to talk to me about like anything that they've got going on, that's a really good place to start. I think it's just a better way of thinking rather than me try to give you like an outright answer, because I don't like to kind of give advice if I don't feel like I really do know something about it, like that's like tried and true. And in those moments, that's the best I can give, is just trade that certainty for awe and just try to keep an open mind and open eyes and just move towards your goals without breaking your own heart. It's just not helpful.
Absolutely. Saying that, your best friends, they live around you as well, or they are spread in different places?
Actually, at this point, most of them do live here. I moved here about 5 years ago, and slowly but surely, I kind of moved down like my closest friends, because it was kind of unilateral. Like my reason for leaving West Virginia didn't really have a lot to do with me necessarily, as much as it did just the circumstance. And I've kind of tried to do the same thing for my closest friends, is to, hey, why don't you move in with me for a few months? Let's see and try and explore these new opportunities in this new place. So actually, most of them live here. I do have a few friends still there, but for the most part, it's either here or there. There's not a lot anywhere else.
Very good. Next question. Okay, Tyler, next question for you is, if you could be an animal, which one that would be and why?
I think I'd like to be like a house cat. I feel like that's not that hard. I feel like you can get away with a lot, and it's probably never boring, it seems. I just feel like that's just a really good way to get, I guess, like your base needs met, and then you can kind of just do your thing otherwise, and no one's gonna look at you funny for it.
They're so independent, aren't they? They are so independent that when they need something, they have a special way to come to you, you know what I mean, to get things.
Yeah.
Totally. Saying that, do you have cats at home?
I don't actually. I have a dog. I nothing against cats as pets. I just I like that dog. My dog, I feel like, needs me a little bit. Whereas like a cat, like I said, it's like they'll take care of themselves. I just have to make sure that I put everything where it's supposed to be. I like just a little bit more. I like feeling like it cares a little bit more than that.
How old is your dog?
He's right around 7. He was a pound dog. So by the time that I got him, he was right around probably a year old, and I've had him it's been about 6 years. So I'm feeling like he's probably about 7, maybe even pushing 8.
I see. Very good. I have 3 questions left for you, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay, Tyler, next question is, which person do you talk to the most?
That's probably my best friend, Greg. I actually end up, we call each other almost every day. Which, I mean, that comes in waves, I think. Sometimes we will both have a lot going on, but he's definitely one of my only friends that I feel like when we do talk, it feels very immediate. Like we just pick up right where we leave off. There's no catching up that has to happen. It's like we know each other well enough to kind of know what we've got going on at any given point. And we just have a really good dynamic in the idea that we're right about the same age. We've done a lot of similar things in the mix of life, and we communicate well. And it's like, we kind of double up almost as like each other's like spiritual guru, and also like just immediate comic relief, because we both kind of end up in a lot of like goofy circumstances. Like we walk head first into that kind of thing. So sometimes it's just a quick call being like, I have to tell you about this thing that happened to me. It's funny. And then sometimes it's genuine, and it's us trying to feel out maybe some of the more chaotic things that we have going on. And it's almost every day these days.
And how did your path cross? How did you meet each other?
We met in high school. So we've been friends for a really long time, but we went to different schools in the same county. But I went to an open mic night when I was in, I think it was my junior year of high school. And he was actually one of the people playing, and we just ended up talking and really kind of hitting it off. And we very casual at first, like very casual friends for years. And then I guess right after I was out of college, I ended up moving back into town, and we just ended up connecting, and it kind of just went from there.
Good one. He'll be very happy to watch this interview and to know that.
Yeah.
2 questions left for you. Let's do it. Tyler, before the next one, as you're saying about you had a career as a musician for during 2 years, what did you like the most about this time when you were playing, and what was the most challenging part?
My favorite part of it was definitely like the amount of connectivity that you get to experience. Because my role in the actual band itself wasn't like super big. I kind of joined them right after they had finished doing a recording, and I was almost more of like a live guitarist. But I did get to meet a bunch of people from a bunch of different parts of the US, from different walks of life, and kind of get to know them a little bit. And I really enjoyed that part of it. And you know, I love to play, and getting to play for new people all the time, that was always really exciting. It's a very cathartic experience, a lot of energy just going back and forth. And my least favorite part of it is I do think it's like sometimes misunderstood, like in the beginnings, how hard it actually is, because there were 6 of us in our van, which it's a 15-passenger van. It's got okay space, but you're pretty much living in a room with 5 other people for anywhere up to over a month. And yeah, and I think that definitely that can be difficult to be, well, 1, away from home, 2, in kind of the unknown of like, how well is the show going to do going on your day to day? And then even then, like once you're there, trying to connect with somebody to maybe let you sleep on their floor instead of in the van kind of things. And it's a lot like camping, except without like the camping parts of it, just the idea of really roughing it. And I feel like it's That wasn't my favorite part of it. That and the travel times in some parts of the US are really wild. Like driving through the Midwest is a very, very long handful of drives, and there's nothing to even look at. Like out of the van, it's corn in every direction.
I see. Good one. Next one is, good question. If you're not yourself, would you like to be yourself, and why?
Yeah, in all honesty, I would love to be me. I think it took me a long time to be okay with it, but I really put the work in on myself as a person. Like it's that same thing. It's like I've always tried to remain very present in what I've been doing and the person that I've been becoming, and trying to remain a student. And I'm really proud at how well I've done, on all things considered. Like without like being too dark about it, it's like, no, it's despite like the troubles that I've had as a person, I managed to really kind of heal a lot of that all on my own terms. And I think a lot of people don't get the affordability to do that, or just aren't really sure where to start. And I mean, I couldn't even tell you where to start, but I did do that. And because of it, it's like, I'm very proud of like the person that I ultimately became at this point in life. So if I wasn't me, I would love to be me.
Amazing, amazing. It's fascinating you saying that, because as you are aware of your challenge moments as well, even though you knew that you went through that, but you still want to be yourself. I think everything counts at the end of the day, everything's part of it, and that's what makes life spicy, and that's what is interesting for sure.
Exactly. Like I said, it's there's a lot that makes us all who we are, and I think the more okay you become with being who you were and into who you are, then you're better prepared to be the person you'll be next. And I think that's what matters the most.
And what makes fascinating about life, about living, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ready for the last one?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Last question, Tyler. Let's do it. But before the last question, looking back in those 2 years that the world went upside down regarding the COVID crisis, what's the biggest positive impact that brought you to your personal life? And what's the biggest negative impact that brought at the same time?
I think the biggest like positive impact is that I do think that COVID I feel like it changed people a little bit. Like, I feel like we're definitely more aware of one another than we were before. I think I do think that it was traumatic in a lot of ways for a lot of people. But if we do know anything about like the personality, it's that trauma is really one of the only things that ever really irrefutably changes people. And I think that that's something that I'm noticing, is that I know it doesn't seem that way sometimes because of Facebook and like the social media and the media outlets and all of that, but I actually do think that there is a little bit more warmth in between like the average person these days. It's like that 2 years almost of separation and the heaviness of like the people that were getting sick and the people that we were losing and everything, and the damages to the different economies. I think we started to realize that at the end of the day, once you peeled all of that back, the only thing that was left were the people. And for it, I think like it's still definitely a little, I guess, rocky, but I do think that it's a step towards like a little bit more of a healed world. Now on the negatives, I do think that people resist this kind of thing. And for it, that's where you start to see your extremes, like where there was like a lot more social issues that I guess like kind of fell right into the forefront. And I think that's actually, it's meant to kind of be that way, because we can't determine what we believe in until it's challenged, I think. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're seeing now, is in our societies and in our world, people are starting to wonder if there are really legitimate reasons for us to not want better for one another. So I think it's definitely like the best and the worst thing in its own way, is just that this is the moment now where everybody's going to clear up a lot of that dogma and a lot of the xenophobia of it, the misogyny of it, just the things that our old world was built on. And it's not that we need to like tear the whole thing down and remake the foundations. We just need to know that what we're building on top of it can really flourish in that way. So I do think that COVID was an awful experience, but I think it might have been one of the best things that may have happened to us overall in terms of trying to heal the world a little bit.
Absolutely. I think as you said, brought a lot of negativity, sadness around us, but at the same time as well, we found a way to survive, to live a life in a different way, to adjust ourselves to the moment was happening that no one was expecting to happen. I think if someone in 2019 come up to me and said, William, next year the world will stop, I think I would laugh. I would go like, are you crazy or what, But I think it brought us some ways of approaching life in a different way, in a more positive way, and be more grateful for things that we take for granted in the past, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Last question, Tyler, let's do it. What scares you the most about your future?
I think the thing that scares me the most is that in this, like, I guess this transitionary part of life, I'm having to now really kind of determine what it is that I value. And it's going to ask a lot of me in terms of like the work that's going to have to be done to get those things. And there is definitely a huge part of me that's really terrified of maybe leaning into the wrong directions and misusing like kind of this very pivotal moment. And I mean, I think that's like a marker of my character, though. I mean, even in college, I changed my major so many times that I didn't finish, and so I think that this is really a huge moment where I'm having to look at everything that I've learned over the years and kind of really apply that in a way that puts me going like towards what I really want. And the fear of it, I think, comes from it's the idea of like time. It's the commitment of the time, because I don't think anybody really likes to sacrifice anything for what they want to do moving forward. I know that it's necessary, but I just don't want it to really have to be longer than it absolutely has to be. Because, it's like I would love to plant my crops and then get to reap them, not plant my crops and locusts get them. So that's definitely, I think, like the biggest fear for me moving forward is the idea of I guess my part in the uncertainty. The uncertainty is fine with me, but my part in it is very, I guess, like self-defining in a lot of ways.
I think all of us, we have those ways as well of, this kind of scary or way of being scared of about what the uncertainty will bring or how we're going to deal with that, how we're going to manage to get that. And it's always a challenge moment. I exactly know what you mean, totally. Right, not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words and you just tell me one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game.
Okay.
Religion.
It's okay.
I like that. It's okay. Politics.
No. Let me like start over. I feel like I'm just giving yes or no answers. Okay. So religion, we'll just stick with what I had for religion. For politics, I think show.
Okay.
That's more the word.
I like that. It's one word for love.
Pure.
Money.
Necessary.
Family.
Paramount.
Wow, I like that. One word for life.
Bliss.
How about sex?
Yes, please.
Always.
Yeah.
One word for fear.
Did you say, I'm sorry, for fear?
Fear. Yeah, one word.
Fear. Oh, unknown.
Friendship.
Idealistic.
Desire.
Passion.
Regrets.
Aplenty. Yeah.
Success.
Variable.
One word for wish.
Peace.
One word for happiness.
I thought pizza. I'm just gonna go with that. That was the first thing I thought. Okay.
One word for West Virginia.
Home, actually.
One word for North Carolina.
Life.
And the last one now, USA. One word.
Ooh. You know, I don't think I have one. I actually I don't. I don't think I have like an immediate word for the U.S. overall. If you don't mind, I'd just love to say something just about that. Like, I think like right now the reason I don't have anything for the idea of the U.S. as a whole is like I smell like a change coming in some way. I can't really say why exactly. I think it's just there's like little things hidden, I think, in the way that things are happening, especially in the way that they would have traditionally have happened in our history. Like this specific point, I feel like a lot's playing out in ways that don't really have a lot of precursor for us here. And because of it, I think like my actual like how willing I am to identify what I see there has changed. Because once upon a time, I would have said that probably something along the lines of, you know, something dramatic like villainous or empire. And while I like kind of definitely still see that of us, I really do see kind of just a big shift changing in the people. Whether or not it's our leaders are on board with that, that's different and hard to say. But I think that the people as a whole, I think that America really is kind of taking a breath for a second. So it's I don't have any clear thoughts about like where that's going to fall yet.
Very good. I like your answer. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely friend Greg. You mentioned your best friends. Yeah. Yes, and I'm going to ask him, tell me the most beautiful thing about Tyler and what's something in your opinion that he still needs to work on, to improve on, what he would say.
I think he'd definitely tell you that, like, at the end of the day, I really do have just like the purest of intentions. I try to, at least, just like a soft heart at the end of the day. Now, I think if you asked him what I needed to work on, it's the idea that soft heart will make him do things that get him taken advantage of a lot. So I'm almost positive, because I'm pretty sure we had this conversation on one of our phone calls maybe 2 days ago. So I think those are it.
I think he gonna watch the interview. After the interview, he's gonna pick up the phone and he's gonna go like, you're totally right with your answer, or he would say, oh my God, you're so wrong. I wouldn't say that. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
I'd like to know. Let's play now, Tyler, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. I like your moves, Tyler. I like
Thanks. Thanks. I've been slowly building on them, getting to watch myself. I'm figuring some stuff out.
You can ask me a question now.
Okay, actually, I do have one for you. What's something that you used to do when you were younger that you kind of stopped doing that you would love to do again, like to take up now as an adult?
Wow, I love the question. And the first thing that came to my mind straight away is playing volleyball. I was playing volleyball. I started when I was 11, 12 years old, and I just stopped when I was 18 before moving to Portugal. And I must say, I was playing every single day. And I'm so grateful for that period of my life, because volleyball, you need to play in a group. Volleyball, you need to, you know what I mean, be able to deal with things, not just with you, but with your mates around as well. And I'm so grateful, because nowadays in my life, sometimes I see myself as a group. I don't see myself as just a person. So I think that I wish I could play more often, because actually I haven't played for a long time already, that I don't remember the last time I played volleyball. And sometimes when I think about, I just remember the joy that I had in my life, just being, practicing, like doing sports, and also be able to play a game where it doesn't depend just on me, that I need to depend on for my colleagues as well as a group. So I think that yes, for sure, play volleyball. It's something that was a passion as a teenager, and nowadays I miss it. I really miss it, having the time and to be able to play volleyball, because it was a peace of mind. And I remember when I was playing volleyball, I didn't think about anything around my words. I was going through some tough times, I was going through some beautiful times, but when I was playing volleyball, I was focused. I was focused in the moment. And that's something that I miss sometimes. Sometimes I think nowadays with technology, with the world going so fast, your mental health, or sometimes as well, your mind gets so, used to it as well, that you forget about giving some free time or relaxing about, and I remember that when I was doing that, when I was playing volleyball, I had this feeling of just focusing in the moment, and sometimes I miss that. So yeah, playing volleyball for sure, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I hope for this year now to play some more volleyball, so I can kind of space out and forget a little bit about this fast world that we are living at the moment. Tyler, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, I did. It was fun.
Thanks so much for taking the time. Thanks so much for being kind and sweet, and for accepting my invitation as well. I appreciate. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or a positive quote, something that inspires you in life.
Yeah, I've got one. It's a French expression I like a lot. I'm gonna butcher saying it, but I'm gonna try it anyway. It's along the lines of "tout comprendre, c'est tout pardonner," and in English it translates to "you can understand anything, you can forgive anything." And I think that's an energy I try to keep, in terms of just like, sometimes in our interactions, I think people lean really hard into the victim-villain paradigm. And I think a lot of the times there's a lot that's complicated about that way of thinking, because like I said, we don't really see ourselves objectively. So if you can take a second and kind of just to understand maybe what caused these events, or this bad interaction with people, or then anything along that line, if you can figure out why it potentially happened, then you open up an ability to forgive people. And that, I think, like builds healthier relationships, instead of just kind of, ripping apart into silence and frustration. And like I said, being either the victim or the villain, it's easier to kind of mend bridges in that way. And I think like that quote really sticks with me, because it makes dealing with like your life a lot easier, in all honesty. It makes your relationships less strained. And I do think that like kind of what you were saying about volleyball, it's that like there's a lot of connectivity in community that I think is really healing to people, especially people that do have like a little bit of a like, that aren't necessarily the most mentally well, or have like a little bit of a dark tinge. That's kind of it. I think once you start to get there, you don't have to be as afraid of other people. And then once you get to that place, you find that it's way easier to keep up open lines of communication, and things just work better that way.
Wow, amazing. Love that. Tyler, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much for taking the time, and we keep in touch. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.